Hey YouTube,
Hey YouTube,
this is Brett Caster
and this is Pipe Man
from Team Wildcard
from Team Wildcard
here with what we think are the top 10 decks of
2011.
because you know the year's about to end, so we figured we'd do this because we can.
You know we're like 3 days short of the year ending,
Oh shit. Oh yeah, okay.
right?
Yeah, I didn't know we were that close to the new year. Alright. Well, it's a good time for this video then. But before we start off with the actual top 10, let's show them the honorable mentions.
All right. Honorable mentions are X-Sabers, Six Sammys, Plant Synchros, Dragoonities, and Machine Gadgets. Machina Gadgets.
For X Sabers, they're on only honorable mentions because, well, they're not as broken as they used to be. They can still deal some damage, but 2011 wouldn't be what I would consider a great year for them.
Yeah, not a great year.
I mean, they got some new support with some XYZs, but Six Sams are better at synchroing, so I think 2012 will be better.
I gotta admit, on the Dueling Network, I got my ass raped by X-Sabers. OTK, dude. OTK.
Yeah, so they're good, but I mean, this isn't only about what's best. This is
Actually, it might have
about
been an FTK.
this is a well, no, well, I don't know, but it's not only what's best, but also what has had the most impact or had the most impact on it for the better from this year.
Six Sammys, they
They,
just got hit.
yeah,
They got hit.
with Shien's smoke signal and all that, with Shien at one, I think it's one. It's it's nowhere near as bad
Yeah.
as it used to be, and with it, as hit as hard as it was, it just couldn't stand up to the
Yeah.
other
I
decks.
might run it, but who knows. Plant Synchro. I myself do run plants. I don't necessarily run a Plant Synchro deck, but Plant Synchro is an honorable mentions mainly because A, plants are,
Always broken. Plants are always around, but there are so many variations out there that this one just kind of.
yeah, it kind of fell short a little bit. Um, I mean, Plant Synchro's been around for, oh, God knows how long, but
But
ever
they're
since Synchros came out, Plant Synchro's been around. But yeah, it just fell short a little bit. Too many good decks this format.
then there's Dragoonities, which for the TCG at
I don't know
least
shit about Divinities.
they just came out this year, and they're really not bad. I went up against a couple. I've never lost to them, but I mean they have some solid. They have some solid cards and there's some solid combos, but and they were hyped at first whenever the structure deck Dragoonity Legion got launched. They were really big for like a couple months. Then, they just kind of fizzled out. So that's why they're here because they were big when they were there, but then, when they were gone, they were
There we
gone.
go. Machine of Gadgets. Brett Caster runs this deck, so I'm gonna let him talk about it.
All right,
For the
Machine.
record, Machine of Fortress is cheap.
I love Machine of Fortress.
Too cheap.
Yeah, this is one of my main decks. Definitely, it's one of my favorites to run. Um, and of course, I'm not going to be a prick and put my favorite deck in the top 10 just because I can. It deserves to be in the honorable mentions because I mean, of course, it's sort of like Plant Synchros. It's been for a while. It's been out for a while, and it sort of fizzled down a bit. It's when it came out, it was relatively cheap to make thanks to the structure deck. Most of the cards came in, and it was a good deck. It countered most meta decks, and it still does a decent job of it. I mean, I don't think I need to run a new deck anytime soon, but that could be false.
Indeed.
Um, but yeah, it just kind of fizzled out for 2011. It just with all these other decks around, it just didn't. It just
And
didn't.
meet up the par.
Well, it can. It's just it. Do
Too
that.
many good decks.
Too many other good
Did not
decks.
meet up to par with this list. We're gonna try and keep it to a minimum of, I don't know, a minute 30 a slide, but so we won't take up all your time. But
Yeah.
all right,
All right.
next
Next,
slide.
number 10 is
Gravekeepers. Brett
us.
Caster also runs this deck. Um, Descendant, cheap. Not as cheap as Fortress, but still cheap. Um,
Necro Valley locks down most meta decks.
Pretty
Not
much
all,
every meta deck.
but not all. And that's a great thing to have with all the chaos decks that are out nowadays, thanks to BLS, Blackluster Soldier, Envoy of the Beginning getting brought back.
I actually think it locks down pretty much every deck in this list.
Not Fortress, because he can still special summon itself. But it does lock down Monster Reborn.
Okay, may I say the main list?
Okay, yeah. Um, Spy, Search, and thanks to the Merrick deck that came out last year, the Merrick Structure deck, or was it a starter deck? I don't know what to call it. Um, coming out with the new Gravekeepers, Descendant, and Visionary, which is, a piece of shit. And with Recruiter coming out shortly after to serve as Gravekeeper's own Witch of the Black Forest. I mean, for searching, we got Spy and Recruiter, and we got Descendant for Destructive Power, with Necro Valley locking every other deck down. So,
Gravekeeper's at number 10.
number 10.
Next is
Black
Blackwings. This deck got hit pretty hard, I gotta say. With Kalut at 1, yeah, that put... You wouldn't really think Kalut would hit it as hard as it did, but it did hit it pretty hard. But, Blackwings, I mean...
They've been around for a while.
Yeah, they have. I mean, it's typical Blackwings. I mean, there's nothing new special about it. I mean, we all know the Blackwing deal. Special summon, swarm.
Synchro. And they have some new support cards, but nothing really in 2011 changed this deck for better or for worse.
Yeah, I don't think anybody uses any of the new cards.
Yeah. Well, there's some, but like
yeah,
one
like
or
that.
two.
Yeah, like one that can special summon the graveyard or something.
Yeah, but they just, they're still around. They're still really popular, but they're just not. They just didn't. This wasn't the best year for them. With Icarus Attack first at 1 or at 2, whatever it was at. I think 1 for the March ban list, and then at September getting put back to 3. That helped it, but with Kalut at 1, it just, yeah.
Once again, Gale. Gale's pretty cheap, but once again, not as cheap as Fortress.
I just noticed 3 of these cards are limited. Black Whirlwind, Gale, and Kalut.
LOL.
Alright, number 7, or no, I'm sorry, number 8 is, any guesses?
Bet you never guessed this one. Glads. I don't know much about Glads, so I'm going to let Brett Caster talk about this.
Everybody who's watching this video should know the strategy of Glads to
Not me.
pretty much hit and run. They attack or get attacked, and they return to the deck to get out something else. And then, they contact fuse back to the deck. They don't go to the graveyard. They just go right back to your deck.
So they don't get locked down by Necro.
Yeah, so Necro Valley kind of, this is one of the few decks Gatekeepers don't necessarily have a handle on. But yeah, with their effects, not only hitting and running, their effects are good thanks to those hit and runs and being able to contact fuse without using polymerization and everything just going back to the deck. It recycles itself. So, and they haven't really had that much support. And they haven't really...
Nothing new's really come out for them.
Yeah, so they're number 8. Not because... Remember, this is not only what's best, but also for the year what has been good for these decks and vice versa. And this year hasn't really touched them that much. They're still a good deck, but they're only at number 8 because 2011 did not change Gladiator Beasts for better or for worse.
At number 7, we got Agents.
Take it away.
I used to run Agents. I bought this structure deck when the first day it came out. And when I pulled out that Hyperion, first thought that popped in my head was, oh god, this is going to be one of the most broken cards of this format. And of course, I was right.
He did. He called me and Darkstar just to tell us that it is the most broken card of this format. And when it is, he gets to say he told us so.
I did tell you so. And I always will tell you so. Christia, I mean, locks down special summons. It's a little hard to get out if you don't draw it early.
But once it gets out,
once it gets out, it's pretty good. But once it does get out, you better have all your Hyperions out or something once it gets out because you're not gonna want to get rid of it. Staple, Venus, Mystical Shine Ball, Gachi Gachi. There's a little sinking in this deck, not much. But Gachi Gachi, first move, that's staple of this deck.
Definitely.
Yeah, that's all there really is to say about agents.
Good, good. They just came out this year, so of course they're on this list.
Of course.
Number 6 is Light Sworns.
Take it away.
Um, I like Light Sworns. I like the way they run. They're on this list not because the year affected them much, but they've been around. They're still around. They're still doing really well at locals. Like months ago, they even topped. Um, so they're pretty strong. I mean, nothing has really changed them for better or for worse. So they're still a solid deck, not hurt really. But they do have new supports for photons. So I mean, they're still pretty. They have new support coming out for them, but yeah, but not really specifically for Light Swords. Not really.
Too overpowered.
Just I wouldn't say that. They have their drawbacks and they're beatable, but they're definitely they deserve a spot on this list just because they stayed a good deck no matter what.
Yeah.
Number 5
is Dark Worlds. Fudge Dark Worlds. I think I'm the one most familiar here with Dark Worlds. Probably Darkstar is most familiar, but he's not here right now.
Yeah, he's not here right now, so please leave a message.
Dark Worlds.
Pain in the ass cards. That's all they are.
Grapha, pretty cheap. Not as cheap as Fortress. Once again, not as cheap as Fortress. But Grapha's pretty freaking cheap. Gates of Dark. I believe that just came out actually. Easy Grapha, easy. Pretty much easy any Dark World card discard.
Dark World sucked before this deck came out. Then they brought Grapha.
Yeah, pretty much.
End.
The end. End. Yeah, that's all there really is to say about Dark Worlds.
And because of the structure deck and because of that Grapha, they earned spot number 5. Number 4 is something me or Patrick have not encountered personally, but we have heard much about and seen duels with, is Tengu Chaos. Reborn Tengu, one of the most broken cards of this format. And using, of course, Chaos monsters, Effect Veiler, also broken. Spirit Reaper, which is, now you can have more than one. It's a good card, obviously, for stalling and for whatever you need. Chaos Sorcerer, which is at 3, once again taking advantage of it. And once again, BLS, Black Luster Soldier, Envoy of the Beginning. So they take advantage of Tengu while utilizing all these light and dark monsters that are considered by many to be overpowered. And yeah, they're taking advantage of the format. I would say that much.
I still think Machine of Fortress is a little bit cheaper than BLS.
I disagree. Alright. Number 3 is, drumroll please.
Fabled.
That was kind of anticlimactic.
Fabled. They run really good with Dark Worlds. But, I mean, did anything new come out for Fables this format?
A lot has been coming out. Fabled, like, they're relatively new. I mean, they're not new, but they're semi-new. They didn't really reach fame until this year, though, in my opinion. Or at least have enough support to reach fame. And, I mean, they sink some. Well, they sink a decent bit. And, they can swarm relatively easily. And, once again, they go well with Dark Worlds, which are also on this list. So, of course, paired together, they're a pain in, my ass. So, well, not my ass. Well, yeah, I'd say my ass. So, they're Fabled. Yeah, number 3
is Chaos.
No, Plants. This is number 2. I said number 3, like restating.
Because you're stupid.
Shut up.
But number 2 is Chaos Plants. BLS. Bullshit.
Glow
Fire, Glow Bulb, Dandy. I mean,
3 of the most broken cards, and Lone Fire.
Actually, these are 4 of the most broken cards in the entire metagame.
Good point.
But Chaos plants. I mean, we all know the drill with chaos plants. Uh, do whatever you need to get out. BLS bullshit.
Or Chaos Sorcerer or whatever you need because they're ready for anything.
Bunch of assholes.
Yeah. Another Chaos deck in the lineup because with BLS, Chaos decks have dominated the metagame for the most part. Like I said, they're beatable. They're not the best decks out there, but for this year, they're definitely, you know,
Oh,
top
and a
decks.
little Yu-Gi-Oh conspiracy going on here. We believe they just brought back BLS bullshit. Um, we just believe they brought him back for marketing.
They reprinted him, brought him back for one format, maybe even two, because they know people will pay a shit ton of money just to get their hands on him and to utilize him and make him broken once again.
I love how like we avoided cursing in like the first half of this video.
Yeah, then
Now we just don't give a fuck.
now it's kind of shot. All right, moving on.
Number
Number one,
one.
and the winner is
You already guessed it.
you already guessed it.
Chaos.
Just generic chaos monsters, which covers chaos plants as well as chaos tengu plants even. It covers all chaos.
Thank you, Pat.
With Blackluster Soldier at 1, again. Chaos Sorcerer at 3. Effect Veiler, being as broken as it is. I mean,
Isn't Effect Failure a 1?
no. I think it's a 2. Maybe a 3 even. I don't even know. I can't remember. I know this most people don't get out.
Necro Gardener's at 1 though, right?
I know Effect Veiler's at... I'm pretty sure Effect Veiler's at 2. Necro Gardener's at...
1, I think.
I don't know. Necro... I mean, excuse us, like we said, we think it's the number one deck because it covers so many other decks because of that Blackluster Soldier and the Chaos Sorcerer and all that. I mean, it's definitely a good deck, and it's definitely, you know, top tier this format because of like all the aforementioned changes. But at the same time, it's not undefeatable. It's just as
Yeah.
easily counted as any other deck.
Gravekeepers.
Gatekeepers. I mean, I beat one with Machinas. I mean, they're all beatable. I mean, just because one deck's ranked higher than the other doesn't mean it's any better.
Still think Fortress is bullshit.
It just means, you know, it just means that for 2011, it was a better year for that deck.
Alright, and the last slide is the top 5 deck picks of 2012. And
question mark because these are
Question
predictions for
yeah,
obvious
these aren't
reasons.
predictions. Yeah, these are just predictions.
Number one, Patrick's.
Number one, my favorite. I'm running this when it hits America, is Insectoids.
They're like Dragoonities, but insects.
Yeah, and their effects
Worse.
are like,
They're broken.
oh my god, dude.
Well, I can't say they're broken yet, but
Oh my god.
they're powerful. They're
Ridiculous.
yeah, they're no comment.
No comment.
And then this one, you
The
know,
glow bulb stands for any plant deck because plants broken as always.
and if glow up bulbs at 1, it'll be used. Not even just by plants, by anybody, but we think some kind of plant variation will be one of the top decks of 2012. We're almost certain. Then this one's maybe a long shot, but we're thinking maybe Chaos Agents.
Maybe.
I mean, agents are fairies. They have the Dark Lords, which are dark fairies. And, I mean, maybe they won't hit Chaos Sorcerer. And if they don't, you know, if they don't even hit BLS.
Bullshit.
Yeah, that would be bullshit. Then, you know, that'd be a really good combo, we think. But, you know, we'll see.
Hey, they might even put BLS bullshit at 2.
I'd quit.
I'd quit too.
We quit. We'd stop making videos. So maybe you guys should hope for that. But that's going out on a limb. But half of these are going out on a limb. Then next is X Sabers, and like they didn't even make our 2011 top 10 decks. But
You never know.
you never know. And I think
I mean, X Sabers have kind of been untouched for a little bit.
I mean, when Rescue Cat got hit, they got hit pretty hard. But they still managed, like we said, they're still a pretty good deck. But
we think that something's gonna come out for them. Like something's gonna come
hopefully,
out.
they have an XYZ monster. or two or something. I know they have at least one, so I mean that's already some new card to support the X Sabers. So with more support, they could be even more of a pain in my or anybody else's ass. So that's why they're out there, just because they have support for the new generation, and we'll see if it's any good for them.
We'll see. And
Oh,
the number one pick. If you guys don't recognize him, it's okay. It hasn't been released in America yet. I
that's
don't even think it's been released in Japan yet, has it?
yeah, just shortly though, like a few days
Oh my
ago.
god. If you have okay, basically this is number one pick for both me and Brett Caster.
Are Chaos Dragons.
It doesn't even have to be Chaos Dragons. It's pretty much
Dragons.
just the structure deck. What's the structure deck called? Collision.
Well, in Japan, it's called Dragonic Legion. Or no, whoa, what is it called?
It's like Dragon
It's
Collision.
called in
Dragons
America.
Collide.
In America, it's Dragons Collide. In Japan, it's called Dragonic Legion.
And just this structure deck, like you just take it out of the package and like
Play with it.
rape.
It reprinted half the most hard to get cards. It reprinted Prime Material. It reprinted Red Eyes Darkness Metal. These are commons. Dad, common. Reprinted Lila, Lightsworn Sorceress, common. Chaos Sorcerer, another common. And with two ultra rares, Light Pulsar and Dark Flare, which go hand in hand with each other.
We're
Light
not
Pul-
gonna read their effects,
we're not.
but we'll just tell you right now. It's oh my
It's
god, dude. It's worse. This is the only time I will ever say this in my life. It is worse than Machina Fortress.
no doubt. Of course, it's still beatable, but it's gonna be a force to be reckoned with, and it
It
will.
actually might bring back Hopeless Dragons.
Well, they're back now, just not.
Just, I mean, they didn't make our list, but
Well, that's because not many people run them.
yeah, I think this might bring him back in the meta though.
This really might, but I don't know. These are really powerful cards that are coming out.
This is a deck to be reckoned with.
Yeah, and we could be wrong, but that's why they're called predictions. That's why they're called predictions. But that's it for Team Wildcard and our top 10 decks of 2011. Don't take anything to heart. If a deck that we said or that we didn't say was or was not on here, it's not because it wasn't a good deck. It's not because it wasn't a strong deck. It's because this was more about the year of the deck, not the deck itself.
That sounded like a fortune cookie.
Thanks. And you know, um, and we had a hard time making this list, to be honest. I mean, there's so many good decks out there. So many decks got affected this ban list. So many didn't.
And yeah, oh, I mean a lot of decks. I mean Yu-Gi-Oh is highly customizable. You can pretty much make any deck you want, whether it's shit or really good. But just don't take anything like Brett said. Don't take anything to heart. But yeah. I mean that's our list. And
It,
remember,
and hold up.
yeah.
Side note or postscript. If you all right, give us your opinion on what you think one of the top 5 decks will be of 2012, or top 5 in general. Just in the comment, put even if it's not on our list, we don't care. Just tell us what you think is the best, and even tell us your list of top 10 decks of 2011. I'm sure everybody's list is different. This is just my and Patman's, and Darkstar may or may not disagree with half of this because Darkstar disagrees with half the stuff we say, but he can deal with it. So
Yeah. And
subscribe, please.
subscribe and don't message us for sub for sub because that's just stupid. And if you do it, we'll take your shit. So yeah,
We are Go Yo Guardian.
peace out, niggers.